Alright, welcome back to Third World Hardcore, baby! Woo! This will be another quiet episode, just listening to the radio and chilling. Alright.
Hey, Azerothians, Zappo here, buzzing in with some sizzling news. So, I caught the wind of this all-shaman extravaganza at the Molten Core. Can you imagine? Waves of water, torrents of wind, the whole elemental fiesta. Figured I'd set up a booth selling guaranteed Ragnaros-resistant raincoats, but guess what? They all wanted my magma mud packs for their after-raid spa treatment. Talk about glowing reviews. Greetings, adventurers and shopaholics alike. Everlook Broadcasting Co. welcomes you to another round of splendid products and services. Get ready to be amazed as we unveil what Azeroth's entrepreneurial minds have concocted.
Feel the ground tremble, warriors. Our elemental necklaces are your link to the primal forces of the earth, fire, and air. With these necklaces, you'll bring power to the Horde like never before. Wear them with pride and let the elements guide you to victory.
Fancy a culinary journey into the depths of despair? Ghoul Gourmet's Feast of Despair serves dishes that'll make you question your life choices. Each bite brings you closer to realizing that maybe eternal hunger isn't such a bad thing.
Picture this, old Zappo dozing off in Ironforge near the Great Forge. I mean, I'm a goblin, right? We need our beauty sleep. Well, my nap turned into a near swan dive into molten lava. Talk about a wake-up call. It's a good thing my reflexes are faster than a gnomish invention gone wrong. I escaped the sizzle, but my boots got a molten makeover. Now they're lava-lovin'. Lesson learned, never snooze near lava, folks. You might wake up with a hot news fashion statement. Zappo was in the house. Alright, so I ventured to Tinkertown with a cart full of self-assembling toy robots. Gnomes adore checky toys, right? Well, turns out the self-assembling feature was just a fancy way of saying they'll fall apart on their own. Had a line of annoyed gnomes waiting for refunds. Good news? I sold them all glue as the next big thing. 2 sales in one go. Azeroth, hold on to your helms, because it's that time again. Everlook Broadcasting Co. is about to drop the hottest deals and products of the week. If you got something to sell, why aren't you on the list? And now, roll the adverts.
Paladins, ever felt weighed down while trying to channel the light? Try Holy Light Diet Water. 0 calories, 0 heresy, 100% righteous purity. Holy Light Diet Water. It's enlightening.
Heyo, it's Zappo time. You ever tried Orcish cuisine? It's all meat good, fire good, meat fire very good. That's it. That's the menu.
The founding of Quel'Thalas, the Omani Wars. The High Elves, led by Dath'Remar, left Kalimdor behind them and challenged the storms of the Maelstrom. Their fleets wandered the wreckage of the world for many long years, and they discovered mysteries and lost kingdoms along their sojourn. Dath'Remar, who had taken the name Sunstrider, or He Who Walks the Day, sought out places of considerable lay power upon which to build a new homeland for his people. His fleet finally landed on the beaches of the kingdom men would later call Lordaeron. Forging inland, the High Elves founded a settlement within the tranquil Tirisfal Glades. After a few years, many of them began to go mad. It was theorized that something evil slept beneath that particular part of the world, but the rumors were never proven to be true. The High Elves picked up their encampment and moved northward towards another land rich with ley energies. As the High Elves crossed the rugged, mountainous lands of Lordaeron, their journey became more perilous. Since they were effectively cut off from the life-giving energies of the Well of Eternity, many of them fell ill from the frigid climate or died from starvation. The most disconcerting change, however, was the fact that they were no longer immortal or immune to the elements. They also shrank somewhat in height, and their skin lost its characteristic violet hue. Despite their hardships, they encountered many wondrous creatures that had never been seen in Kalimdor. They also found tribes of primitive humans who hunted the ancient forestlands. However, the direst threat they encountered were the voracious and cunning forest trolls of Zuluman. These moss-skinned trolls could regenerate lost limbs and heal grievous physical injuries, but they proved to be a barbaric, evil race. The Omani Empire stretched across most of northern Lordaeron, and the trolls fought hard to keep unwanted strangers from their borders. The elves developed a deep loathing for the vicious trolls and killed them on sight whenever they were encountered. After many long years, the High Elves finally found a land which was reminiscent of Kalimdor. Deep within the northern forests of the continent, they founded the kingdom of Quel'Thalas and vowed to create a mighty empire which would dwarf that of their Kaldorei cousins. Unfortunately, they soon learned that Quel'Thalas was founded upon an ancient troll city that the trolls still held to be sacred. Almost immediately, the trolls began to attack the elven settlements en masse. The stubborn elves, unwilling to give up their new land, utilized the magics which they had gleaned from the Well of Eternity and kept the savage trolls at bay. Under Dath'Remar's leadership, they were able to defeat the Omani warbands that outnumbered them 10-1. Some elves, wary of the Kaldorei's ancient warnings, felt that their use of magic might possibly draw the attention of the banished Burning Legion. Therefore, they decided to mask their lands within a protective barrier which would still allow them to work their enchantments. They constructed a series of monolithic runestones at various points around Quel'Thalas, which marked the boundaries of the magic barrier. The runestones not only masked the elves' magic from extra-dimensional threats, but helped to frighten away the superstitious troll warbands as well. As time wore on, Quel'Thalas became a shining monument to the High Elves' efforts and magical prowess. Its beauteous palaces were crafted in the same architectural style as the ancient halls of Kalimdor, yet they were interwoven with the natural topography of the land. Quel'Thalas had become the shining jewel that the elves had longed to create. The Convocation of Silvermoon was founded as the ruling power over Quel'Thalas. Though the Sunstrider dynasty maintained a modicum of political power, comprised of 7 of the greatest High Elf lords, the Convocation worked to secure the safety of the elven lands and people. Surrounded by their protective barrier, the High Elves remained unmoved by the old warnings of the Kaldorei and continued to use magic flagrantly in almost all aspects of their lives. For nearly 4,000 years, the High Elves lived peacefully within the secluded safety of their kingdom. Nevertheless, the vindictive trolls were not so easily defeated, They plotted and schemed in the depths of the forests and waited for the numbers of their warbands to grow. Finally, a mighty troll army charged out from the shadowy forests and once again laid siege to the shining spires of Quel'Thalas.
comes from the forges of Ironforge, so stay tuned for more metal.
The Guardians of Tirisfal, Legacy of Sorcery, read to you by Rograg Fishlayer. With the absence of trolls in the Northlands, the elves of Quel'Thalas bent their efforts towards rebuilding their glorious homeland. The victorious armies of Arathor returned home to Southlands of Strom. The human society of Arathor grew and prospered, yet Thoradin, fearful that his kingdom would splinter apart if it overextended itself, maintained that Strom was the center of the Arathorian Empire. After many peaceful years of growth and commerce, mighty Thoradin departed on one final quest, never to return, leaving Arathor's younger generation free to expand the empire beyond the lands of Strom. The original 100 Magi, who were tutored in the ways of magic by the elves, expanded their powers and studied the mystic disciplines of spellweaving in much greater detail. These Magi, initially chosen for their strong wills and noble spirits, had always practiced their magic with care and responsibility. However, they passed their secrets and powers onto a newer generation that had no concept of the rigors of war or the necessity for self-restraint. These younger magicians began to practice magic for personal gain rather than out of any responsibility towards their fellows. As the empire grew and expanded into new lands, the young magicians also spread out into the Southlands. Wielding their mystical powers, the magicians protected their brethren from the wild creatures of the land and made it possible for new city-states to be constructed in the wilderness. Yet, as their powers grew, the magicians became ever more conceited and isolated from the rest of society. The second Arathorian city-state of Dalaran was founded in the lands north of Strom. Many fledgling wizards left the restraining confines of Strom behind and traveled to Dalaran, where they hoped to use their new powers with greater freedom. These magicians used their skills to build up enchanted spires of Dalaran and reveled in the pursuit of their studies. The citizens of Dalaran tolerated the magicians' endeavors and built up a bustling economy under the protection of their magic-using defenders. Yet, as more and more magicians practiced their arts, the fabric of reality around Dalaran began to weaken and tear. The sinister agents of the Burning Legion, who had been banished when the Well of Eternity collapsed, were lured back into the world by the heedless spell casting of the magicians of Dalaran. Though these relatively weak demons did not appear in force, they did sow considerable confusion and chaos within the streets of Dalaran. Most of these demonic encounters were isolated events, and the ruling magicrats did what they could to keep such events hidden from the public. The most powerful magicians were sent to capture the elusive demons, but they often found themselves hopelessly outmatched by the lone agents of the mighty Legion. After a few months, the superstitious peasantry began to suspect that their sorceress rulers were hiding something terrible from them. Rumors of revolution began to sweep through the streets of Dalaran as the paranoid citizenry questioned the motives and practice of the magicians they had once admired. The magicrats, fearing that the peasants would revolt and that Strom would take actions against them, turned to the only group they felt would understand their particular problem, the elves. Upon hearing the magicrats' news of demonic activity in Dalaran, the elves quickly dispatched their mightiest wizards to the human lands. The elven wizards studied the energy currents in Dalaran and made detailed reports of all demonic activity that they beheld. They concluded that although there were few demons loose in the world, the Legion itself would remain a dire threat so long as humans continued to wield the forces of magic. The Council of Silvermoon, which ruled over the elves of Quel'Thalas, entered into a secret pact with the magicrat lords of Dalaran. The elves told the magicrats about the history of ancient Kalimdor and of the Burning Legion, a history which still threatened the world. They informed the humans that so long as they used magic, they would need to protect their citizenry from the malicious agents of the Legion. The magicrats proposed the notion of empowering a single mortal champion who would utilize their powers in order to fight a never-ending secret war against the Legion. It was stressed that the majority of mankind would never know about the Guardians or the threat of the Legion for fear that they would riot in fear and paranoia. The elves agreed to the proposal and founded a secret society that would watch over the selection of the Guardian and help to stem the rise of chaos in the world. The society held its secret meetings in the shadowed Tirisfal Glades, where the High Elves had first settled in Lordaeron. Thus, they named the secret sect the Guardians of Tirisfal. The mortal champions who were chosen to be guardians were imbued with incredible powers of both elven and human magic. Though there would only ever be one guardian at a time, they held such vast power that they could single-handedly fight back the Legion's agents wherever they were found in the world. The Guardian power was so great that only the Council of Tirisfal was allowed to choose potential successors to the mantle of guardianship. Whenever a Guardian grew too old, or wearied of the secret war against chaos, the Council chose a new champion and, under controlled conditions, formally channeled the Guardian power into its new agent. As the generations passed, Guardians defended the masses of humanity from the invisible threat of the Burning Legion throughout the lands of Arathor and Quel'Thalas. Arathor grew and prospered while the use of magic spread throughout the Empire. Meanwhile, the Guardians kept careful watch for signs of demonic activity.
With tunes that'll stick in your head and messages so neat, our ads will have you tapping your feet to the beat.
Ahoy, stout-hearted dwarves! Tired of lugging heavy mining gear? Feast your eyes on the Rock Ripper 2000, a pocket-sized mining expert complete with a built-in beard comb. Dig deep without sacrificing your glorious facial fuzz. Mine like a champion, and look good doing it.
Pyromaniacs of Azeroth! Zapple's got a new obsession, fireworks. I figured why not combine explosions with art. I crafted a masterpiece called the Goblin Glitter Storm. It's like a firework volcano. Safety tip, best to watch it from a distance. A very, very long distance.
Ever been curious about the gentle whispers of your feathery companions? Wonder no longer. With just a few sips of our moon-touched moonkin elixir, you'll not only understand these enigmatic friends, but also embrace their majestic presence. Be forewarned, a sudden urge to showcase moonkin dance moves under the moonlight might just be one of its enchanting side effects.
The invasion of Draenor. On the offensive. As the fires of the Second War died down, the Alliance took aggressive steps to contain the Orcish threat. A number of large internment camps meant to house the captive orcs were constructed in southern Lordaeron. Guarded by both the paladins and the veteran soldiers of the Alliance, the camps proved to be a great success. Though the captive orcs were tense and anxious to do battle once more, the various camp wardens based at the old prison fortress of Durnhold kept the peace and maintained a strong semblance of order. However, on the hellish world of Draenor, a new Orcish army prepared to strike at the unsuspecting Alliance. Ner'zhul, the former mentor of Gul'dan, rallied the remaining Orc clans under his dark banner. Aided by the Shadowmoon clan, the old shaman planned to open a number of portals on Draenor that would lead the Horde to new, unspoiled worlds. To power his new portals, he needed a number of enchanted artifacts from Azeroth. To procure them, Ner'zhul reopened the Dark Portal and sent his ravenous servants charging through it. The new Horde, led by veteran chieftains such as Grom Hellscream and Kilrog Deadeye of the Bleeding Hollow clan, surprised the Alliance defense forces and rampaged through the countryside. Under Ner'zhul's surgical command, the Orcs quickly rounded up the artifacts that they needed and fled back to the safety of Draenor. King Terenas of Lordaeron, convinced that the Orcs were preparing a new invasion of Azeroth, assembled his most trusted lieutenants. He ordered General Turalyon and the Archmage Khadgar to lead an expedition through the Dark Portal to put an end to the Orcish threat once and for all. Turalyon and Khadgar's forces marched into Draenor and repeatedly clashed with Ner'zhul's clans upon the ravaged Hellfire Peninsula. Even with the aid of the High Elf Ilaria Windrunner, the dwarf Kurdran Wildhammer, and the veteran soldier Danath Trollbane, Khadgar was unable to prevent Ner'zhul from opening his portals to other worlds. Ner'zhul finally opened his portals to other worlds, but he did not foresee the terrible price he would pay. The portal's tremendous energies began to tear the very fabric of Draenor apart. As Turalyon's forces fought desperately to return home to Azeroth, the world of Draenor began to buckle in upon itself. Grom Hellscream and Kilrog Deadeye, realizing that Ner'zhul's mad plans would doom their entire race, rallied the remaining Orcs and escaped back to the relative safety of Azeroth. On Draenor, Turalyon and Khadgar agreed to make the ultimate sacrifice by destroying the Dark Portal from their side. Though it would cost their lives, and the lives of their companions, they knew that it was the only way to ensure Azeroth's survival. Even as Hellscream and Deadeye hacked their way through the human ranks in a desperate bid for freedom, the Dark Portal exploded behind them. For them, and the remaining Orcs on Azeroth, there would be no going back. Ner'zhul and his loyal Shadowmoon clan passed through the largest of the newly created portals, as massive volcanic eruptions began to break Draenor's continents apart. The burning seas rose up and roiled the shattered landscape as the tortured world was finally consumed in a massive, apocalyptic explosion.
Hey folks, looking to give your business a little boost? Give Everlook Broadcasting Co. a shout. We got ears everywhere. And speaking of, check out these awesome products our pals are offering.
Salutations, seekers of knowledge. The Arcane Wonders Academy invites you to unlock the secrets of the arcane arts. Our distinguished instructors will guide you in harnessing the power of magic, just as we have done for generations. Join us and embrace your destiny as a student of the arcane.
Tired of goblin inventors testing their gadget near your workplace? Opt for the Durotar Labor Union's goblin-proof fencing, now reinforced to withstand most minor explosions. Goblin testers were mostly unharmed.
Are you looking for a way to invest in your future? To find new ways to gain wealth? The new era has arrived, and with it, an open door for all those savvy investors who are looking for a chance to a new world. Shellcoin is a fascinating magical new currency that will take the world by storm. No longer will gold be the only means to trade and buy, but instead, a valuable arcano currency will come to replace it. Today, at this very moment, is your chance to find the wealth you could have never dreamed of. Become an early backer today and buy Shellcoin.
Do you hate falling off of a zeppelin? Does your innkeeper not let you set your hearthstone? Or your well-earned loot will just not let itself be taken from the boss? The solution to all of these questions and more lie in our newly overhauled bug tracking site. Similar to how you know it from the past, but with easier access, better overview, and a filter option to search for topics that interest you most. Now you can simply click on a tab on the TurtleWow homepage, so even the not-so-tech-savvy can help make TurtleWow a bug-free place. A simple report can do a lot of change.
Ahoy there, savvy shoppers and treasure seekers. It's your favorite goblin DJ, Zappo Zapblast, ready to dive into a sea of fantastic deals and rare finds. Get ready to shop till you drop.
Hello, folks. Are you tired of those boring, non-gnomish gadgets cluttering up your life? Well, look no further than Gnomish Gearworks Gadgets, where we turn everyday problems into extraordinary catastrophes. I mean solutions. Remember, if it doesn't explode at least once, is it even a real invention?
May the winds guide you, kid. Ever had that embarrassing moment when you accidentally sat on a tiny goblin because they're hard to spot? We've all been there. But don't worry, we've got a solution. It's called the Gobbler's Guardian Amulet. This enchanted piece of jewelry senses goblins nearby and gives you a gentle alert. It's your way to sidestep those awkward situations and keep your dignity intact while ensuring their little faces avoid being flat. With the Gobbler's Guardian Amulet, you can confidently enjoy your time at the inn without the fear of squishing a goblin by mistake.
Greetings, future coffin connoisseurs. Coffin and Casket Crafts is your go-to destination for the afterlife's finest wooden resting places. Our caskets come in various designs, including the Rest in Pieces model. Each one is lovingly crafted, and we even offer customized screaming inscriptions. Because when you go, your final resting place should say it all.
Hey there, Azerothians, it's your pal Zappo, totally hyped up for today's lore book reading. We got tales so epic, even a dragon would drop its treasure to listen. So pull up a seat and get ready to jump into amazing legends and mind-blowing mysteries of our world.
The first Greymane. From the 7 nations that were originally part of the Empire of Arathor, Gilneas stands out as the one that had to fight the hardest for its independence. While Lordaeron was able to secure its freedom through the influence of its nobles, the people of Gilneas had to make great sacrifices to gain their liberty. Although the exact dates of these events have been lost to the sands of time, it is a source of great pride for Gilneas to know that it gained its freedom before other notable nations like Alterac or Kulturas. The people of Gilneas were among the first to break free from the yoke of Arathorian nobility and enjoy the full benefits of self-rule. According to legend, the Greymane dynasty that ruled Gilneas was founded by Garelon, a minor noble who owned an insignificant plot of land in the southern part of the country. Over time, Garelon's influence grew and he became known as a skilled fighter, a wise judge, and an honorable opponent. His exploits became legend even in his own time. However, he grew increasingly resentful of the corrupt Arathorian nobles who sought to exploit and oppress his homeland. Eventually, Garelon gathered other like-minded lords from Gilneas to form a rebellion against the decadent Arathorian king, Thoradin III and his followers. Many lords were hesitant to join the rebellion, but Gerlon was able to persuade them and eventually declared himself the King of Gilneas. This was an affront that could not be tolerated by Arathor, which sent its legions to pacify Gilneas. Numerous battles were fought on the peninsula, but despite the bravery and courage of Gilneas' men, the odds seemed stacked against them. Arathor had a numerical advantage and was able to overwhelm the Gilnean armies. The Battle of Ravenswood was lost, and the Gilnean soldiers were scattered, seemingly without hope. But the young Gilnean king was not deterred. He rebuilt his strength and rallied the morale of his men. The final battle was fought on the hills of Stillward. Greymane assumed a defensive position on the hilltop, with cavalry hiding in the nearby forest. The Arathorian forces were over 4 times larger and better equipped, and they rushed Garelon's positions without considering their own men. The Gilnean forces fought valiantly, killing thousands of Arathorians, but it was not enough. The enemy flowed onto the hills and threatened to surround Greymane's army. Thankfully, the cavalry in the woods emerged from hiding to turn the tide of the battle. They galloped out of the forest, charging straight into the Arathorian lines. Caught off guard, the Arathorian formations were shattered. Although they attempted to retreat, the Gilneans gave them no quarter and sought revenge for their previous losses. Thousands of Arathorians were killed, including their king, Thoradin III, who pleaded for mercy, but received none. In the end, Gilneas emerged victorious, and the new young king of Arathor soon came to sue for peace. Gilneas was granted its independence and joined Dalaran as one of the independent human nations. King Garelon proclaimed the emancipation of his Gilnean homeland, giving rise to the glorious Greymane dynasty. As the nascent kingdom of Gilneas began to thrive, it faced yet another challenge. The Magocrats of Dalaran, who saw land ripe for exploitation, attacked Gilneas without warning or declaration of war, in a clear display of their treachery. The wizards of Dalaran, believing they could easily win the war with their magical abilities, underestimated the strength of the Gilnean army. The first Battle of Ebenmere was a complete massacre of the Dalaranian soldiers, and their mages hanged on trees from the city of Gilneas to the kingdom's border as a reminder to never again encroach on Gilnean soil. Despite the victory over Dalaran, the young king of Gilneas was not able to rest for long. Various nobles of the land were not always loyal to the king, and some rebelled against his rule. However, King Garelon's power was too great, and he managed to subdue them all with the help of his favored general, Lord Ravenwood.
I doubt goblin engineering. Sure, it's volatile, but so is my aunt's chili, and we still love that.
The Last Guardian, Egwin's Legacy. Read to you by Vrograg Fishslayer. The Guardian Egwin grew powerful over the years and used the Tirisfal energies to greatly extend her life. Foolishly believing she had defeated Sargeras for good, she continued to safeguard the world from the Demon King's minions for nearly 900 years. However, the Council of Tirisfal finally decreed that her stewardship had come to an end. The Council ordered Egwin to return to Dalaran so that they could choose a new successor for the Guardian power. Yet Egwin, ever distrustful of the Council, decided to choose a successor on her own. The proud Egwin planned to give birth to a son whom she would divest her power to. She had no intention of allowing the Order of Tirisfal to manipulate her successor as they had tried to manipulate her. Traveling to the southern nation of Azeroth, Egwin found the perfect man to father her son, a skilled human magician known as Neelas Aran. Aran was the court conjurer and advisor for Azeroth's king. Egwin seduced the magician and conceived a son by him. Neelas's natural affinity for magic would run deep within the unborn child and define the tragic steps the child would later take. The power of Tirisfal was also implanted in the child, yet it wasn't to awaken until he reached physical maturity. Time passed and Egwin gave birth to her son in a secluded grove, naming the boy Medivh, which means keeper of secrets in the High Elven tongue. Egwin believed that the boy would mature to become the next guardian. Unfortunately, the malignant spirit of Sargeras, which had been hiding inside her, had possessed the defenseless child while it was still in her womb. Egwin had no idea that the world's newest guardian was already possessed by its greatest nemesis. Certain that her baby was healthy and sound, Egwin delivered young Medivh to the court of Azeroth and left him there to be raised by his mortal father and his people. She then wandered into the wilderness and prepared to pass into whatever afterlife awaited her. Medivh grew to become a strong boy and had no idea of the potential power of his Tirisfalian birthright. Sargeras bided his time until the youth's power manifested itself. By the time Medivh had reached his teenage years, he had become very popular in Azeroth for his magical prowess and often went off on adventures with his two friends, Lane, the Prince of Azeroth, and Anduin Lothar, one of the last descendants of the Arathi bloodline. The three boys constantly caused mischief around the kingdom, but they were well liked by the general citizenry. When Medivh reached the age of 14, the cosmic power inside him awakened and clashed with the pervasive spirit of Sargeras that lurked within his soul. Medivh fell into a catatonic state which lasted for many years. When he awakened from his coma, he found that he had grown to adulthood and his friends Lane and Anduin had become the regents of Azeroth. Though he wished to use his incredible newfound powers to protect the land he called home, the dark spirit of Sargeras twisted his thoughts and emotions towards an insidious end. Sargeras reveled within the darkening heart of Medivh, for he knew that his plans for the second invasion of the world were nearing completion, and that the world's last guardian would bring them all to fruition.
Hey Azeroth, hold on to your helms, because it's that time again. Everlook Broadcasting Co. is about to drop the hottest deals and products of the week. If you got something to sell, why aren't you on the list? And now, roll the adverts!
Why walk through the world smelling like a mere mortal when you can embody the aroma of the divine? Drench yourself in Aloth the Lost Symphony perfume, a scent so exquisite even the Magisters will bow.
Miss your old pet? We specialize in pet reanimation. Your furry friends can be just as undead as you are.
Need a combat buddy? Look no further and rent a pet for PvP from Zappy. Previous owner? Don't ask, don't tell. Rent for an hour, get a free flea collar.
The Greatest Minds of Azeroth, Gnomish Inventors. Read to you by Iggy Moppet. In this month's publication of The Greatest Minds of Azeroth, we'll be taking a look at the shortest geniuses from the Eastern Kingdom. The adaptive and intelligent gnomes of Cosmodon are known for their groundbreaking creations, ranging from small, handheld devices to earthquaking, mountable robo-suits. We will take a closer look at the most renowned inventors of gnomish kind from the last century. Both well-known and obscure virtuosos will be presented today, displaying their engineering accomplishments to the world. Tankmaster Overspark. The discombobulator ray is without a doubt Overspark's magnum opus. This nifty little machine allows for simple, albeit very risky, transformations of living beings into harmless squirrels. When unveiling and demonstrating his grand creation, the masses were astonished by the level of ease with which the ray gun could be operated with. What they were not astonished by was the fact that the test subject transformed into a vicious raptor shortly after assuming its new squirrel form. Luckily, the wild beast could be subdued and no gnome was harmed in the process. Oglethorpe Obnauticus. Mr. Obnauticus was considered a genius even among the High Council of Tinkers in Gnomergan, yet after an unforeseen incident during a robot fighting competition, he was ostracized from the great city. While the actual course of events was never published, there are rumors saying Obnauticus was set up by a fellow inventor, misusing his harmless robot fighting blueprints to build a violent machine and putting the blame on him in the process. Following his exile, he settled in the port city of Booty Bay, from which he developed an autonomous sentry unit with the OOX series of battle chickens. Sicko Thermoplug. A highly controversial topic, but one cannot deny Thermoplug's engineering prowess, as he was directly competing with Gelbin Mechatork for the election of High Tinkerer. With the creation of the fully operational assault gear, he ushered in a new age for gnomish warfare. Sadly, it would not be used for the greater good of gnome kind, but instead for its own detriment. Following the fallout of Gnomergan, the blueprints for the assault gear had been lost in the ruins of the once great city. Other contributions of Thermoplug were his work on the Gnomergan ventilation system, his cooperation with Gelbin Mechaturk, as well as a series of surprisingly well-behaving mechanical dogs many gnomes lovingly called Scrappy. Gelbin Mechatork. A rising star in the past centuries of gnomish inventions, Mechatork is known for his diligent and intricate engineering work he perfected over the years following the establishment of his very own Tinkerer Emporium. Co-developing many astounding gadgets with his former friend Sicko Thermoplug, Mechatork's popularity skyrocketed with each new invention he brought to life. Many of these found day-to-day applications, like the Harrow Gain 3000, saving many gnomish men from early baldness. It did not take long for the gnomes to elect him as High Tinkerer, the ruler of the